What happened in the insurance business is pretty interesting. The auto insurance business is that for the first time in quite a while, deaths and accidents too, but the death figures you've got long histories on. Deaths per 100 million miles driven went up, and it's quite interesting. It was in the 1930s. It was 15 times. You were 15 times more likely to die in an auto accident per mile driven than currently. 15 times, and then after World War II, the figure got down from 15 per 100 million, roughly to 7 or something like that per 100 million. And then Ralph Nader came along, and cars got a lot safer, and now it's just a little over 1 per 100 million, and that number's just kept going down. So we only had a little over 30,000 auto deaths in 2014. But in 2015, for the first time in a long time, the trend started going the other way. We've just got figures for the first 9 months. But the frequency of auto accidents went up a lot last year. The number of deaths went up. Of the 32,000 deaths, incidentally, about a third are drunk driving. I mean, if you think about it, almost 10,000 deaths out of the 32,000 come from drunk driving. Half of the people that are killed as occupants in a car are not wearing seat belts. But I personally believe that distracted driving, which was listed for about 10% of the deaths in 2014, I'll bet that number went up a fair amount. So,
distracted driving meaning somebody who's talking on the phone or texting while they're driving?
Yeah, one way or another distracted. And that's harder to get the precise figures on, but that was about 10% in 2014, about 3,000 deaths. But in any event, the frequency of accidents, the frequency of deaths per 100 million vehicle miles went up quite significantly in 2015, and that's the first time in a long time. And the cars are safer, so people are not driving as well. And then on top of that, what they call the severity also went up. So as a consequence, our rates were behind experience during the year. I would guess, but this is a guess, we're a couple months into the year, I would guess that now the rates are more adequate for what the current experience is. If I had to bet, and the people at GEICO won't like me saying this, but I think our underwriting experience will be better in 2016 than it was in 2015.
Meaning rates at GEICO and probably all the other auto insurers are going up because the deaths are going up. They've gone up.
Yeah, and now you get your policy every 6 months, so you may not see it for 3 months until you renew your policy. But rates will have moved up, and you will see it as you get renewals. And they've gone up because both the frequency of accidents has gone up and the cost of accidents has gone up.
And you think it's tied directly to distracted drivers because they're on their phones?
I really think that's got to be a real fact. Now, there were more miles driven last year, too, because gas gets cheap, and that has some effect. And actually, when employment gets better, that affects driving to some degree. So there were more miles driven. But beyond that, people did not drive as well last year as they had the year before, and it had been coming down. I mean, it is, when you think about it, it's so much safer to drive a car now than when I was a kid, for example, and even when I was an adult. Cars have gotten a lot safer.